name is Lee Garcia. I am a rehabilitation counselor coordinator at James A. Haley Veterans Hospital in Tampa, Florida. In this position, I serve as the Director of Independent Living and Facility Engagement, in addition to providing direct services. I work with the amputee population and the cancer. It's actually the oncology rehabilitation clinic, which is like an interdisciplinary team to help with veterans who are experiencing cancer. So they're in various stages. Most people are post-treatment, but some people are going through treatment at the time. So Brett, were you going to do the slides or do you want me to share them?
I can share them right now.
Okay. So I really wasn't for sure, like, what kind of information. So I consulted with my friend Charlie, and we thought it was best to do like some general information about base benefits for, through the VA. Or is anyone here a veteran? Charlie, anybody else?
There we go. We have many of them that are with Camp Lejeune, so this recording will be tremendous help to them.
Okay. So go ahead and go to the next slide if you'd be so kind. So again, Paralyzed Veterans of America, they all have veteran service officers, and they are experts in benefits. So they would be able to assist with that. Okay, next slide. So the PACT Act, this is new legislation that a lot of people consider it the burn pit legislation. So this is relative to post 9/11 and the Gulf War, because the burn pits were, they had all kinds of toxins from, human waste to chemicals to you name it. They burned them. And all those toxins were in the air. And so people have, again, become very sick based on some of these toxins they were exposed to. So PACT Act went in effect last August. So it does expand the VA healthcare and the benefits for veterans exposed to burn pits. But they also added two new health conditions related to Agent Orange, hypertension, and this other one that's got a great big huge long name and I can't pronounce it. And I think 5 additional localities for Agent Orange exposure, because that, by the way, it's not just Vietnam. It could be the DNC, it could be the Korean areas of Thailand, and several stateside bases where Agent Orange was stored. And so the PACT Act, I just want to bring your attention to that. Again, this website will provide further information, but if you could click to the next one, it goes over the presumptives. Now, there's a lot of cancers, and I want you to see reproductive cancer of any type. So there is, that link below you will click on what they consider reproductive cancer of any type. It is male versus female. So on breast cancer, because I double checked this last night when I was doing these slides, breast cancer is only considered reproductive for women. So, but I wanted you to see this, but this is not inclusive of all of the cancers. So if a veteran was in, Gulf War or post 9/11 in any of the localities listed, and they have any type of cancer, I would encourage them to file for compensation. Okay. All right. So next slide. So those were the cancers. These are the illnesses. Lots of, breathing and respiratory illnesses, sinusitis, rhinitis, the COPD, bronchitis. So all of those are presumptive conditions. Now, some of these I've seen, they don't carry high levels of service connection. You may see 0%. So that means that the government acknowledges that health condition was caused by their service. They're just not going to pay them for it. Okay. All right. So next slide. So these are the Vietnam presumptive conditions. So that top one is ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. And then again, there's many, many cancers associated with Agent Orange. But of note, the diabetes. Agent Orange exposure is the only toxin associated with diabetes, and diabetes is one of the most debilitating health conditions there are. It leads to peripheral vascular disease, which leads to, blood flow stopping to the extremities. Then there's amputations. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong with diabetes. So, if any veterans, not just with cancer, but that are diabetic, and they served in Vietnam, please get them to a VSO, or you can call me and I can get them to a VSO, because we need to be getting services to them real quick. Okay, next slide. I was going to post the different localities for Gulf War and post 9/11 and Vietnam, but there's so many because again, it's dates and localities. There's like 13 different countries for Gulf War and post 9/11. And as in Vietnam, lots. So it was just too much to try to put in a slide. So I just put in these hot links so that if you know of anyone that may be affected by these, then you could give them that resource. And the next one. Okay, so this is the service that my team provides. So James Haley is the only VA in the country that has a team of rehabilitation counselors attached to the hospital service. So I don't know if you're aware of, the VA is comprised of 3 administrations: the hospital administration, benefits administration, and then burial and cemetery. And most people confuse our providers and veterans alike provides the service my team, or confuses the services my team provides with that of vocational rehabilitation services through the benefits administration, because that is the federal government's vocational rehabilitation program. The differences are it's eligibility based. So at James Haley, the only eligibility criteria is that the veteran is eligible to receive care at the VA and they're registered at James Haley. And that is simple. They don't have to live here. They can live in Alaska. They can live in Puerto Rico, as long as it's in with the United States. But we actually serve people in Europe as well. So they just have to register. It's a simple phone call. I put the phone number down and the extension. If they're already registered at another VA, it'll be super easy. They can just pull those records up. If not, then they're going to need to submit their DD-214, but that's not difficult to do, right? So, and you don't need a consult for our services. What do? So we do the whole range of employment services. So this is, it's like, I'm a certified rehabilitation counselor. There's 14 of us. Most of them are certified rehabilitation counselors. So we do the whole employment. So that's vocational evaluation, functional capacity assessments, situational assessment, reasonable accommodation assessments, resume writing, targeted job searching, interview preparation, retention services, because as we all know, jobs are advertised one thing, but many times you get into it, it's something different. So we want to make sure that's a good fit, for the veterans. So that's all of those things, whatever really it takes to get them employed. Career exploration. A lot of people with health conditions that they're no longer able to do the jobs that they were trained to. So let's look and see what they're interested in. What other kinds of work would they be able to do? What kind of transferable skills could we use from one job to another? So all that's part of employment. We also offer independent living services. I do a lot of independent living services. I am the director of independent living, and there are 3 very, healthy grants within the VA for home adaptations. There's $210,000 grants on the benefit side of the house. There's a small grant on the hospital side. So I work with veterans and coach them and provide them assistance to get these grants, so that, because many times their disabilities are causing them, they can't get in and out of the shower. They may have a mobility impairment. And this goes for people with cancer too. They're weak. They have fatigue. They can no longer walk. They need assistance getting in and out of the shower. They need assistance bathing. They can't bend over. They can't reach their toes. They can't get dressed. They may need help with eating. They may have, all of those things are part of independent living. So if you know anyone, that are going through any of these kind of things, please let us know. Tell them about us, and we can help them. Again, as long as they're in the United States, we can serve them. Meaningful life activities. So this means different things for different people. So it can mean, I work with a lot of Vietnam veterans. They're very grumpy, but I love my Vietnam veterans. And they're bored. They're sitting around, they're 70 years old, they're retired, but they're bored. They can't watch any more TV. So they may want something fun to do. They may want to volunteer. They may want to go fishing, or they may want to write plays, right, Charlie? And it gives that they don't have purpose. So what happens when you no longer have a purpose? You become depressed. What happens when you become depressed? You can become suicidal. We lose way too many veterans to suicide. Although we respect their choices, we want to try to replace that depression with something that's going to give them that sense of purpose. So meaningful life activities, it sounds like a bunch of, fancy words, but they, really mean a lot. I think Charlie can share, what it's like, not to have purpose, and then to move forward to have purpose, and how it just changes your whole life. And then finally, the benefits and services education. So that's a key thing. I mean, that's the very first thing that I do when I open a new service case, is I go through the list and do my kind of assessment thing to see, because there's so many benefits and services that the veterans might be available that they just don't know about it. If they need someone, like we have a family caregiver program for veterans with 70% service connected, that affects their independent living, or they need supervision, like for medication management. They may have memory issues and they don't know when they took their medicine or if they took their medicine. So in some of those cases, they're depending on their family members. So we can get a stipend to pay those family members, right? And get respite care. Because what happens when the caregiver becomes exhausted? They can't take care of the veteran. So we have to take care of the caregiver too. So somewhere along that vast spectrum, there's something for everyone. Okay. Last slide. This is an easy one. This is just my contact information. 813-595-5962 is my direct cell phone. And this is lea.garcia@va.gov is my email address. So if anyone has a question, or you can share with someone and they want to know what we could do for them, please have them give me a call. Again, there's 14 of us here. It may not be me, but it could be somebody else. And we can, as long as they can do a video appointment, then we can provide services to them. All right, any questions?
There I am. I'm unmuted. Amazing information, and that was one of the last thing you answered. Once we have so many from the VA, and is it all right for me then connect you with email
Please.
with them immediately I drop out? Because you're totally right. They don't know where to go, what to start with, or whatever. And
and there's a saying in the VA: if you've seen one VA, you've seen one VA.
yeah.
So while our practices, they're supposed to be consistent, they are different between the VA. So I'm very proud that James Haley is one of the best, VA hospitals in the country. We are one of 5 hospitals that have a physical medicine rehabilitation service here. So, and of that, we're like rated #1 as far as the physical medicine rehabilitation service. So we have a lot of things to offer. I'm personally, right now, I'm working with veterans in Vermont, Massachusetts, Arizona, Mississippi,
wow.
Tennessee. So, as long as I keep that time thing right, I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing unbelievable. My son-in-law is a VA veteran, and he's on disability. So I watch what he has to go through and to try to get answers sometime. Hell, I'm going to connect him with you.
Please
if you
do,
can,
and let them know that they came from you, and we will, each one of us has our specialties. My specialty is really independent living, but we're all certified rehabilitation counselors. So, but my friend down the hall, he does functional capacities and reasonable accommodations, and so it just depends. But we work together.
Right.
It doesn't. So I have him like actually doing some kind of evaluations for a couple of my people that are his strengths. So we just work together, wrap around, and provide that veteran what they need. But we have everything from ALS, pain, mental health. I do cancer rehab, amputee, stroke, traumatic brain injury.
Unbelievable.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah,
So
that
we have
knowledge
assistive
together, share.
technology.
Oh,
Yeah, we have assistive technology. We have physical therapy. We have occupational therapy. Occupational therapy can do a home evaluation and see, what kind of adaptations are needed, what are the barriers, what kind of adaptations, and then we can look for grants for them. If they're not service connected, we can look for ways to get them service connected. If they can't get service connected, we can look for a home, home community supports, to try to get modifications done, because people don't need to be falling
right.
and tripping over carpet when there's grants available to modify their homes so that they can be independent.
Yes, that's
So
just
there's
wonderful.
and we also have assistive technology. So there's smart homes are becoming a big thing. So we could do smart home evaluations to see what their assistive technology they have, how assistive technology could help them, and then in some instances the VA can even purchase it. So prosthetics
Wow.
can do a lot of things. Like our prosthetic department, they ramps and grab bars and automatic door openers and vertical platform lifts and Versa frames for the toilet. All those things are prosthetics that can be purchased from the hospital. No service from the hospital. No service connection is required.
Wow.
And they can make worlds of differences. If you have a grab bar to hold on to get in and out of the shower, you're less likely to fall. Shower chairs, any kind of equipment, long, shoe horns, and I call them sock puller uppers, but they're called sock aids. They can someone put on a sock, so you don't, you can be independent. You don't say, ask your spouse or partner, like Charlie says, hey, can you help me put my shoes and socks on? That really takes something away from somebody when they need, with the simplest things they need that assistance with. So all of those things are available. So there's a lot of people that don't know about that. We're here to provide, support and services to our veterans. So please put that word out because we want to serve them.
That's amazing. Absolutely. I do the sock puller upper myself every morning. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So this is
See,
awesome.
sock puller upper is a good name. They should change the name.
I know, and it works. They work. It's fantastic. So
yeah,
that's excellent. Does anybody else have any questions? This has been great information.
Yeah. The one comment I would add is that it's not just about, like when she talks about voc rehab, it's not about getting you back to work. It's about all the other stuff that goes along with it. And that emotional support that you need to have that purpose again, to be able to start doing things and get reconnected. And I know some veterans, once you leave the military, it's like, I don't want anything to do with the military. And that's okay. You're not going back into that side of the military. You're going to this assistant side, which is totally different. And so you have a different connection to the military at that point. And so being able to get all the benefits you can get.
That's fantastic.
Charlie, I should have put the motto that you came up with. Vocational rehab is not just what you think. So it's that whole spectrum. So I say there's something there for everyone. There's something there for everyone. So we are here to serve. Please let me know what we can do. Again, my phone number, that's my direct cell phone number. It's not an extension. If I'm with a veteran, I'm not going to answer the phone, and it might take me a day, but I do return phone calls.
That's awesome. You do. We've stayed connected, so you're amazing. I can't thank you enough. I give you an applause for all the knowledge.
And same with you, because it was really interesting, because when I thought the time zone was different earlier, I picked up the one woman's, I don't know, the short black hair and something about a shirt. whoever she was, and
Yeah.
the comment about men and the breast cancer for men, and that I didn't really realize it until I went to Charlie's play. I didn't really think about that, and then I was setting an appointment with a veteran, and I saw this on my calendar. Said, "Oh my gosh, I got to do a presentation like in 2 days, and I haven't done the presentation." So he asked me what it was, and I was like, "Well, male breast cancer happens," and he goes, "What? That's a thing? Men can get breast cancer?" I was like, yes, they can get breast cancer. So you guys are so right in your mission, because people don't think about that.
They don't. We
They
gotta
don't
just
think
remind them men have breasts too. It can
Yeah,
happen
and
to
so
you.
Charlie shared with me about because fortunately for me, I've not experienced cancer, and no one in my family's experienced cancer.
Thank
We
God.
I went through cancer with my friend who lost her mom last year, but that's the only like exposure to cancer that I have. I volunteered for the cancer oncology team because the doctor is just phenomenal. And that's
Awesome.
another resource too. The oncology rehabilitation team. It's a multidisciplinary team that and they can work with people virtually too, right? So
Absolutely.
they it's kind of hard to describe what they do, but they just kind of they make sure the veterans has what they need, whether it's mental health or laser dermatology services, to break up that scar tissue so it's not painful, or speech or dietary, or the whole gamut. So that's another resource too, because that physician, Dr. Elena Hartman, she's incredible, and Charlie can vouch for that.
Wonderful. Oh, that's fantastic.
All right, I know you guys are on a tight agenda, so thank you so much.
Thank you again for your time, lady. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you. Keep in touch.
We will. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Ready? Go.
Oh, sorry. I
That's
should have
okay.
had my share already going.
That's
I
all
apologize for
right.
that. So my name is Tanya Beck, and I'm the founder for Coastal Fitness and Correction. And we are
Yeah, you can.
cancer exercise specialists. And we focus on each client as an individual. And we focus on their program design based on their specifics as far as the type of cancer that they have, the surgeries that they've gone through, the treatments that they're currently undergoing medication wise. And based on that and many other factors, we design an exercise program for them. So a cancer exercise specialist is basically a advanced qualification for personal trainers and healthcare professionals out there. So I just want to touch a little bit about the benefits of exercise. So the individualized programming is big. So again, for the individual, based on the type of cancer, type of surgeries, medications, comorbidities, meaning heart disease, diabetes, or orthopedic disorders or injuries. They might have past injuries that limit range of motion doing other exercises. They might have disorders like kyphosis, which is the rounding of the upper back. They might have lordosis, which is the arching of the lower back. The safety of the individualized programming is such we have a controlled environment. So everything stays super clean. So it's not like a gym that you would go into and everybody else is wiping down their machines. We actually control all of that and making sure that everything does get cleaned. We also offer virtual options for folks that are immunosuppressed that can't be out and about. So they're able to still work out virtually and get the benefits. We're able to give constant monitoring of form and the physicalities of the levels on a day-to-day basis. So that way we track everything. We can see if there is start to see a regression in form, then we know that things might be a little too intense, or that, we might need to adjust the programming just a bit. And then client education is very big on making sure that they understand what proper form is before you start putting on any type of weight. The health benefits for exercise at diagnosis and throughout survivorship is this: it reduces the anxiety, the depression, the pain, the fatigue that comes with treatments, the injury risk, and it reduces the cancer reoccurrence. So it also promotes improved muscle retention with little to no muscle wasting. And some of the treatments that are out there, you know, we have to work against in order to keep the muscle and to keep everybody strong. It also promotes treatment tolerance, strength and endurance, energy and coping, mobility and balance, posture, range of motion, sleep quality, and the overall function of your daily life activities. So really, I was kind of going through that pretty quickly because this is really what I want to talk to everyone about today. And going back to client education, this is one of the things that we are very passionate about because it is a very real thing. And we want to make sure that everyone is educated as in what lymphedema is, what you can do to prevent it, and what the signs of the stages are. So we're going to go through all of that today. So what is lymphedema? Lymphedema is lymph fluid that does not properly flow through the lymphatic system, and it begins to accumulate in the tissue under the skin. So this causes painful and inflammation around, and limited range of motion can happen. It can be chronic and progressive that continues to worsen over time if not treated. So early detection is key.
Tanya,
Who
will
is at
you
risk?
press the from current slide up in the top? It'll fill the whole screen. I think some of the font. Just the
one
from
here?
current. No, the next. Well, you'll just have to scroll down to your next slide. Just hit the arrow or scroll down.
Okay,
and
I
click
got
and
it.
it'll go to it.
Perfect.
There you go. Is that better? Do you want me to go back through? Okay. So who is at risk? All cancer survivors who have had lymph nodes surgically removed or damaged by radiation. And it can occur immediately after surgery. It can occur weeks after, even years, 15, 20 years. And it usually, it occurs in the area closest to where the lymph nodes were removed. So in this case, it would generally be the arm, a little bit of the chest and shoulder. So how do you prevent or manage lymphedema? So these are my top 8 ways of doing it. Number 1, avoid tight-fitting jewelry or clothing that has tight elastic bands on the affected limb that could impair circulation. You want to avoid overheating the body. So like saunas, steam rooms, hot tubs, things that are really going to raise that inner body temperature. You want to keep the at-risk area meticulously clean and use lotion after showering. You want to avoid nicks, cuts, scrapes, bug bites, etc. On that affected area. And even if some of you shave your underarms, you would want to use an electric shaver instead. And you want to treat skin breaks and infections immediately with soap and water and follow it up with an antibacterial ointment. So that's really important because with having those lymph nodes removed, you are at greater risk for infection, even from a paper cut. So you just want to make sure that you're taking care of the area as best you can. When you're traveling, you want to think about maybe elevating the arm or wear a compression sleeve. Lymphatic massage, I highly recommend it. And if you're already working out or you're going back to working out, don't progress your strength or endurance exercise too quickly. Even my athletes, they have to be taking all the way down to almost a beginner level and then increased from there, because even a seasoned lifter can lift a little too much and engage that whole lymph system and create swelling. So that's the whole thing. We're just trying to avoid the swelling. So it's not like you won't be able to get back to doing strength and endurance, but you just want to progress it slowly. And then do your lymphatic drainage exercises every morning and or before you exercise. And we're going to go through those. Lastly, you want to know the stages. Okay, know the stages of the lymphedema, because early detection is key. And if you start to detect that swelling, then make sure you see a medical professional to prevent the progression. So, and the bonus is for you is that exercise can enhance the lymphatic flow. So another benefit to exercise during. So stages of lymphedema. Stage 0, there are actually 4 stages. I'm listing 3. Stage 0, it kind of progresses slowly. You might even come out of surgery or radiation with a mild stage of actually stage 0. So it progresses slowly. You might feel sensations of tightness, heaviness, or even tingling. So the tightness might feel like you have a book underneath your arm, but there's no visible swelling yet. You might feel it, but not visible yet. They need actually special imaging equipment to diagnose that. The tingling, it can actually feel like an ice cube even being taken down the back side of the arm here. So any of those things are a sign that you might be in stage 0. So just have your medical professional check. Better to be safe. Stage 1, the swelling may or may not be present all the time. It can be intermittent. So it might get better and then you rest it a little bit and then the swelling goes away. The skin, when you press on it, will pit when swelling is present and it'll hold the indentation. And then elevating the limb when this is happening is very helpful. So it'll help that kind of drain through. Stage 2, swelling does not go away even with the elevation. Tissue is firmer, but it shows less sign of pitting. Fibrosis occurs, which is scarring of the tissue due to prolonged stagnant lymph fluid. And the skin starts to feel a little hard. So past this point is stage 3, which is really terrible to talk about. You can Google what stage 3 is, but seriously, if you can stay on top of 0, 1, and 2, we don't ever have to get to a stage 3. So your lymphatic exercises are this, and truly we're just really thinking about the upper body because if you've had a lumpectomy or a mastectomy where you've had lymph nodes removed, this really is only pertaining to that upper body portion. So I will have a digital copy of these exercises. I believe Peggy already has them, but they'll be available to you. You just have to email and request it. But it's so simple. And this can be the difference between getting lymphedema or not. So doing these lymphatic drainage exercises are key, and it really starts with breathing. It starts with breath work. It starts with doing a gentle pelvic tilt, then followed by crunches, gentle neck stretches, shrugs, shoulder rolls, shoulder blade squeezing, isometric chest presses, shoulder circles, wrist circles, wrist flexion and extension, and then lastly, the fist clenching. So you would only do the lower body if you had issues on that end, but really just doing these, do them as your warm up, do them as your, you wake up in the morning, you get out of the shower, you do your exercises. Before you get ready to work out, do your exercises. Make this a part of your workout routine. And I think that should be pretty much it. So if you have any questions, I am more than happy to ask. If not, you can always reach me by email on the previous screen, and I'm more than happy and available to speak with anyone.
Yes, we've shared your stuff so much, and I know the guys have read and watched your video from last month, so it's so excellent information and all. A lot of them
I
said they've already
appreciate it.
getting started to using it, so it's
Great.
very, very good. So we can't thank you enough on all the details and information here.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely. Brett, did you do your exercises when you had it? I'm asking you.
Me, I mean, I didn't have any lymphedema.
Here,
So
you unmute. Unmute. Yeah.
I didn't have any lymphedema, but thankfully. But I know that sharing this information, because Ron, I know has been going through it a lot lately, and just there are other men in our group that have it, and then anybody that's recently diagnosed, any ways that they can prevent it from coming about. So this information is very helpful. Not going through it, I don't have too many questions to ask and everything. I guess it's just hearing from you and then Dr. J Harness about exercise oncology and stuff. It's just that encouragement that stay active and do just like some of these little exercises and activities throughout the week and everything to keep you be more proactive than reactive.
So, Brett, one thing that I do want to say and make clear is that the exercises are actually about prevention. So that way to keep people that have had lymph nodes removed or damaged from getting to that point. So where they start seeing those signs of lymphedema. So yeah, this is just like a precursor to their workouts.
Copy. Thank you.
That's excellent knowledge, I tell you. So it's something that should keep up no matter what, right?
Yes, ma'am. They should.
Excellent.
Just safe practices.
Absolutely. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or want? If
Peggy,
yes, go ahead, Sherry.
I have a question. I'm sorry,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
driving, so if it's noisy, forgive me. So I would like to know if I can freely share this incredible information on our platform? And if the answer is yes, I'd like to know how, what is it, like not proprietary or something that I can freely share. The other question I have is, have you done any extra research on, I'm gonna say rebounding, but I don't want you thinking people jumping up to the ceiling and jumping down, but just a small aggravation of negative G's. That NASA did a fabulous study on lymphatic cleansing through rebounding, we'll call it that. I just wanted to know if you've had any time to look into rebounding. So I'm going to turn it off and listen. And again, I'm sorry if it's very loud, guys. It's beautiful, amazing information. I'm really excited to share if I'm allowed to. Thank you.
Those are great questions, and I freely, yes, this information is so important that I want everybody to have it. So as many people as we can share it, we need to share it and give it to them. So
I'll
I
connect you
can-
all by email so you guys can do it. Okay.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And then to answer your question about the rebounding, I love that you asked that question, because actually we don't actually use a rebounder. Some places may, but you can also do a Bosu ball, which is a half ball. It's like flat on one side, and it's like half of a stability ball on the other. And you can hold on to the kitchen counter and put that ball down, and just, you're kind of rebounding, but you're not lifting your feet up, but it gives you the same sensation. And yes, as a matter of fact, I encourage my clients to start with that and then do their lymphatic massage as part of their warm-ups.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And
You're
Sherry, she's willing to, get on a Zoom call with your clients too, that you ever need to do. She did a wonderful, it's on our YouTube channel. She did it and her brother's page of last month's call of her explaining all this, which is amazing, and sharing it out. And like I said, it's been viewed many, many times. And I'll definitely connect the two of you to see how you can develop it more for what you're doing.
Yeah,
would be
and
great.
has Ron connected?
Yes.
Because
yeah.
he has. Okay, so he's done a podcast?
Not yet. He's going to. He's going to get her scheduled after the first of the year to do a
Excellent.
podcast for her.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for everything, Miss Sherry.
Appreciate your question.
Yeah. Any others have any questions or whatever? Nothing? Okay. Well, you're awesome. And again, I
you.
can't thank everybody that's participating. We now have our 30-minute break, which is a pre-dinner lunch type, depending on your time zone, to take. And then we will be starting right back up at 3:00 Central Daylight Time with Dr. Amy Patel. She's actually Brett and my oncologist. Huh?
You said they switched.
Oh, I'm sorry. We did switch. Amy's going to be on. Isabella, her assistant, is going to be talking genetics first, and then Dr. Amy Patel will be on right after. So they're almost going to tag team together. But yes, we'll start right back up at 3:00 Central Daylight Time. So everybody take a break, do what you need to do, and we'll see you back here soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.